Dans la session 1, on a essayé d'identifier quels étaient les caractères cibles.
Un peu plus près du micro.
Pardon.
During the session, we tried to identify the target traits. As I mentioned, during the first session, we worked on target traits for future selections, whereas in the session 2, we tried to put this into practice for future challenges. We've had 3 presentations. There was Vladimir from a Russian institute talking about genetic diversity, who's shown us that there is a great potential for use when it comes to available diversity, which is a resource to carry on genetic selection. Mrs. Fracasso talked to us about a very interesting issue, which are the tools available for phenotyping. And developed models can allow us to forecast future yields. This is a great potential. It's a real possibility for target traits. In the third presentation, we've had Ian Godwin from Australia, who's shown us how to optimize water resources available there with classic and new approaches while focusing on genetic engineering to develop new resources. It was really impressive to listen to these presentations. This is really changing genetic engineering. And this is giving us new validation and functional tools which are really interesting in the research field. We could really inject these traits into the traditional selection, but this could also help forecasting radical changes during the selection process. So these are really interesting ideas we need to look into. In the smaller presentation, Paul Schegg talked to us about how accelerating variety development, sorghum, as you know, requires time for self-fecundation. So with this new method, we could accelerate this phase, whereas Quentin Devoe talked to us about private-public partnership towards forage hybrids. And in that case, the marker genetic information were a key item. So what are the take-home messages? There are new solutions which employ genetic diversity in sorghum. There is a great potential. We have advanced phenotyping and modeling tools available to us, which can identify target traits which are more interesting for us in the future. We can forecast yields. This is very helpful when it comes to selection and virtual testing of ideotypes without really actually growing them. After that, we need to mention some tools that improve efficacy of the selection, both on the selection by markers with a traditional method, so using markers on regular populations, so to speak, but then we can also use cellular crops, which is a very interesting point to get new answers from this kind of approach. There was then a roundtable, and what we told each other is that what we are missing at a European level is that we don't have a device which allows us to use all the varieties at a multi-approach level. So public partners and private partners have different expectations. We need to identify the target populations, which would also allow us to identify the kind of ideotype needed according to the environmental area. This device could allow us to share genetic resources, especially when it comes to tolerance levels, and this would also allow partnerships to work together on screening, as well as create new models and work on with the models we've had before, because at a European level we could get a great platform to analyze pathogen pressure on crops. To sum up, I'm going to skip to the very next steps we need to take. What we need is to identify the actors in the research area. There are some universities which could join in. We need key partners and actors which would act with us, which would work with us. We also need to identify the financing opportunities and programs available. A very last remark. We also had a satellite meeting, whose aim was to get a discussion started with the two workshops that were running before yesterday with us, in order to have all of the results available and shared between us, because to us it's really interesting to know what's happening at a political level, but we need a multi-level sharing approach. So this is what we decided on. Second thing we decided on, we need some precise actions to carry out, and this is what we are going forward to. That's the direction we're moving forward to.